Good morning, and welcome to Friday Patriot Radio News Hour. I'm Joe Jaquin, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group, and our toll-free number, 800-951-0592, as if you didn't know what the number was. Brooke walked in this morning because she wasn't here yesterday. Yesterday we had Arlene, my wife, was in yesterday, and she was like, wow, as there was... She was greeted with stacks of invoices to be processed, and I told her if she wanted to commit suicide, that was the time to do it. But she's working through it. She said she's not going to jump. She's not a jumper, so we're going to be okay. The website at allamericangold.com, and obviously the election getting closer and closer. The Dow having a tough day. Matter of fact, down, last time I checked, it was down 3, about 280 right now. It was down 400 points. But don't worry, the central bank tried to save the day. They came up a little short, but they're going to, some loans for certain types of businesses. If you wanted to borrow like $1 million, something ridiculous, some kind of quote-unquote small business loans. I don't know. Maybe we need to define what a small business is. But they lowered the rates or try to make it easier for people to get money. But the minimum amount was, I think it was $250,000. And then you have to make, it's not like they just give it to you. Like I couldn't just call, hey, Jay, hey, it's double. How you doing? Yeah, Patriot. Yeah, you know the one. Hey, can you give me $250,000? You got to meet all kinds of requirements and have, I don't even know how many employees you would have to have. But nonetheless, it sounded good. Here's the problem. The bond market not cooperating. Yields are running higher. I think that today, after today, Monday and Tuesday, I think will be fairly quiet. But who knows? Wednesday's the day that's really going to be interesting, right? Depending on what may or may not happen come Tuesday. Records being shattered everywhere. It's crazy. Like Texas has already had more people vote before the actual voting date than they had in the last presidential election. I think this is going to be, probably an all-time record high as far as votes being cast, but I'm sticking with it. I still think Trump's going to win. I think all these polls are full of crap. How about that? 800-951-0592. It is Friday, so that you know what that means. Listen, it's been a tough week. Equities have been getting crushed out there. The housing market showing signs that maybe it's finally going to slow down. I don't know that a bubble is going to burst there just yet. But if the interest rate scenario doesn't improve, the 10-year note today approaching 9/10. So I know it's so funny to think, oh, my Lord, 0.9%. Hide the women and the children. I know. Well, this is what they've done. This is what the central bank has done. But we'll put a couple of fingers of Jack in the coffee. Leave the driving to us. Slap on that seatbelt. Gold and silver heading higher today. Gold's up about $14-15, $18.83. Silver's up another 30 some odd cents, approaching $23.75. News out. Listen, and I've said this a lot, and I know a lot of you are nervous about the election. I'm nervous. We're all nervous about it because there's not very many good scenarios. I don't know that there's any good outcome. Trump wins, the left's going to go crazy. Then it's so funny, all white supremacists, and I guess white supremacists are supposed to be conservatives, by the way. That's how they judge it. Name the last time a white supremacist burnt anything, looted anything, did anything. The last time a white supremacist had where more than 5 people showed up. Seriously. The left is dangerous. We know it. Going to burn the whole place down. I heard that they're going to try to seize the White House if Trump wins, to try to force him out. I mean, all this crazy stuff. I hope none of that's true. But then, of course, Biden wins. That's going to be horrible. Right? Because here comes the progressives, and you know he's not going to serve out his term. You know it. And then, of course, the last and final option, right, is what? We don't know who won. I know. So everyone's a little nervous. I get it. 800-951-0592. But when we get back, you know, and I've told you, really, it doesn't matter. None of this matters. Here's what's going to happen. And again, I try not to do, you know, I'm not going to tell you what you do spiritually. I'm not going to tell you what you do morally. This is about your financial health. I've been telling you that the digital currency is coming. The end of cash is coming. And I've had to speed up my time frame. I thought we'd get to 2030. We're not. Yesterday, the Communist Party held their 5-year financial plan meeting. So they meet and they're discussing, hey, this is what the next 5 years of our finance is going to be. A lot of news now on the digital front. China is made it official. And then we're going to see what this means for the dollar, and it's exactly what I thought it was going to be. You're not going to want to miss it. Patriot Radio News Hour. It's Friday. Listen, you may need to get a few more fingers to jack for the next one. We'll be back. 800-951-0592. We still have Silver Eagles. My guess is before the election is over, they'll be gone. That's my guess. I think that most of the scenarios, if it isn't gone by election day, the day after they will be. And then it's going to be middle of January, maybe if we're lucky, we can start taking orders right after New Year's. So if you want silver, do it now. Now, silver's up again. I actually raised the price. I just told Brooke, you know what, I didn't see it. Didn't happen. So we're going to stay at $5.95. I'll change it online during the break. But $5.95 for rolls of Silver Eagles. And again, gold's up $15. I'm going to pretend that didn't happen, and I will get this back online. So yesterday we ran 20s at $2,095. Rolls of Silver Eagles, $5.95. We're going to hold those prices for today. Why? Because, listen, you need to be ready. You need to be ready, and it's not Tuesday that you need to be ready for. You need to be ready for what's going to happen because we're dominated by debt. Listen, it doesn't work. I'm sorry. I want it to work. I wish it worked. I wish Alan Greenspan was right in the late 90s when he said, you know, when we dubbed him the maestro. The only way this possibly could have worked, because let's face it, fiat money has never worked. Sorry, but it hasn't. Why we let the bankers have this much power over us is it's moronic. And they brainwashed us. We're totally brainwashed into thinking, oh my God, we got to have the central bank. No, we don't. Think of all the manipulation. Think of all the damage they do. We all know they just created another housing bubble. They tried to buy down mortgage rates. We set all-time record lows, and now all of a sudden, despite their best efforts, bond market's starting to go the other way. Right? Because no one can possibly buy it all. It's impossible. But, again, here we are. How long do we have before we come out with a digital dollar? It's coming. It's not a matter of if. It's when. And the timeline keeps getting pushed up. So yesterday, China had their big meeting. this morning, China is going to give legal backing to the launch of its own sovereign digital currency, cementing it as its trailblazer status in virtual currencies far ahead of the United States. Now remember, Jay Powell, what was it, a week or two ago? Oh, we don't need to be first. We need to be right. We got to get it right. What are you saying, Jay? And again, I'm so sick of this America can't do it crap. Sick of it. We can deal with coronavirus and not shut down the whole country. I know we can. You know what else I know? I know we can do this, but you know what? Again, they just don't want to tell you that they failed you. Again. You think you got wiped out in 87? You think you got wiped out at the tech bubble? You think you got wiped out when you lost your house? You think you got wiped out in the financial crisis? You ain't seen nothing yet. This is the big wipeout. This is what happens. Don't believe me? Read a book. Read your history. Know what has happened to fiat money every time, and we follow the same pattern. At first, they try to be real good. We won't go into much debt, just a little bit. Just a little bit. Right? Remember the nonsense they told us in the 80s? 3% of GDP, that's okay. Well, we got a GDP of about 20 trillion. The real debt number, the real one, not this fake bull crap number, 3.3 trillion, not that number, because that's bull. It's not true. We got $4.5 trillion debt. That's 22.5% of GDP. Not 3. And now what? We're just not smart enough? Listen, we're getting our butts whooped. Here's what happened. The Fed thought they had more time. They did. They thought, oh, no, we got this under control. Now, did coronavirus throw a wrench in their plans? Maybe. But we know this happens. So anyway, China's now first. After recently experimenting with large-scale trials of actual payments by consumers. Remember, I told you this. They launched it in 4 different cities, and they were so smart to get people to try it. They gave away free money. Yeah, right? Who doesn't want that? The South China Morning Post reported that the People's Bank of China has published a draft law on Friday that will give legal status to the digital currency electronic payment system. And for the first time, the digital yuan, right? You know, China, yuan, renminbi, same thing. I think the renminbi, because you've got the South Korean won, the Chinese yuan. They're kind of spelled. I think they're spelled exactly the same. So when I say yuan, renminbi, same thing. It's the first time that the digital renminbi has been included and defined as part of the country's sovereign fiat currency. Up until very recently, the whole project had been very secretive. No, it wasn't. I've been telling you about it. What do you mean secretive? Again, this is the media spin. Right? They didn't want us to know. And who's that? The media, the Federal Reserve, right? They don't want us to know. Because if you know, heaven forbid, you might actually do something. Leave your money in the bank. See how it goes. See how it goes. See how the stock market goes. See how your IRA goes. Your money markets and your annuities. You see how it goes. Okay? You'll find out. Don't worry. Previous report reports described it as acting akin to well-known stable coins in the crypto world. And again, this is my worry about the cryptos. What happens when all the countries have their own? Right? Do they outlaw it then? Hey, you can't compete with us. Get out. That's my theory, my guess. I don't know. I hope I'm wrong about that. Because I love it. I think everything should compete. Let gold compete. Listen, we've got computers now. They're really fast and they're really smart. Right? You just hit a button. Oh, what form? How do you want to pay me? You want to pay me in your fine fiat money? You want to pay me in gold? You want to pay me? Right? We can do it all. Of course, the problem is the second we do that, no one's going to want the dollar. The framework was released over a year ago. The draft law, and this is kind of the thing that you're going to see everywhere, will also forbid any party from making or issuing a yuan-backed digital tokens to try to replace or compete in the renminbi, with the renminbi in the market. In other words, it's illegal, right? Kind of like here in the U.S., the only one that can make money, right? We're not allowed to create our own, like the state of Arizona can't create its own money. China's saying, listen, nobody can create this but us. And if you do, right, well, you know what happens in China, you just disappear. Amid report earlier this week that China was fast moving on its digital yuan's legal status, they said that they had conducted multiple trials in Shuhao, Shenzhou, Yiyang, and Shenzhen. That's like, I'm getting better at this Chinese stuff. I probably butchered every one of those. But, hey, it sounded better. In the last city, the later city, which was the largest test, they issued over 10 million renminbi in digital currency to 50,000 randomly selected people so they could use it. It was as quick as when I use Alipay. See, like there they have Alibaba, right there, the Amazon over there. They got WeChat, one of the things that we're trying to break up here. But essentially, China is now ready to say, hey, this is what it's going to be. Here's where we're going. The Chinese government said this. The central government has made it clear that China's ambition is as follows. The goal of the DCEP, the digital, whatever I said earlier, currency electronic payment system, includes replacing cash. Right? I told you. All that cash that most of us have in our safes and wherever our shoe boxes and wherever it is, our safety deposit boxes, which you're not supposed to have it in there anymore, but most people do anyway. Just like I fear, we're going to turn it all in. And if you don't, and if you have too much, be ready. Replacing cash, maintaining government control over the currency, the power that the central bank is going to have is enormous. And creating as many small retail application scenarios as possible. Yep. That's what we'll have. I'll have a little app. It'll be the Patriot Trading Group electronic payment app. That's how you'll pay. Think about it. You'll call me on the phone or order it online, either way. But let's just do the phone call. Yeah, hey, good afternoon, Patriot. This is Joe. Hey, Joe, yeah, I'd like to place an order. Oh, okay. It's Smuckatelli. Oh, hey, Smuckatelli, how you doing? Yeah, I want to buy about 20 grand worth. Oh, okay, great. I want some 20s and I want some silver, blah, blah, blah. And give me 10 of these, 5 of those. Yeah, okay, the total's going to be $19,750. Schmuckatelli. Smuckatelli will be like, all right, well, I'm going to hit my app button now. Boom. Right into my account. Same thing when you come in to sell. How are you going to sell in the digital world? You'll come into the Phoenix office, or you'll come into the Colorado office, or you'll mail it back to us just like you always did. But now, instead of me paying you in cash, instead of me writing you a check, no. I'll just get on the app. Hey, what's your mobile app number? What's your currency app number? Right? We'll all have like a little currency app number. Bam, there you go. And we already do it now. I don't do it, but my wife has the Venmo thing, very similar, same type of thing. This is what's coming. As expected, China is aggressively going to crack down on any counterfeit wallets. And the ultimate goal is for China to now be the world's reserve digital currency. Patriot Radio News Hour. What does that mean for us? I'll tell you next. Welcome back. 800-951-0592. Final day here. U.S. Silver Eagles, at $5.95. And $20 gold pieces. The deal of the day at $2,095. Both gold and silver up pretty good today. Again, I think, and I could be wrong, but I think after today the markets, will be quiet come Monday and Tuesday, and then Wednesday through Friday. That could get really, really interesting. But we'll have to wait and see on all of that. But Silver Eagles, like I said, this is about the last dance, and then it's going to be probably 6 to 8 weeks before I could even take an order, assuming that New York doesn't shut down again for COVID, and at least 8 weeks plus before you could even get delivery on those. So take advantage today. Put them away. You're going to be glad that you did. 800-951-0592. That's the toll-free number. Brooke's here. She'll take care of you. She'll get you all squared away. Hold on. I'm actually doing 3 things at once here. I'm pretty good at 2 things. When you get to that third thing, then it gets a little sloppy for me. So, it's done. China's first. Digital currency is here. What does it all mean? Why not go to the most respected guy out there? And that's got to be Jeffrey Gundlach, his company, Double Line Capital. No one's better than him. This is where all the billionaires, this is the guy they give the money to. He's the one that, I've been telling all of you, if you're going to follow anybody, follow him, right? Because he'll shoot it to you straight. He'll let you know what exactly is going to happen. So let's just look at what they now believe is going to happen. Most recently, the Fed's stealthy plan to deposit digital dollars to each American during the next crisis is nothing more than an unprecedented monetary overhaul. Remember, this is what they said to us. Because of COVID, man, we need to have this ability to instantly just give people money. Think about it right now. Hey, no stimulus. Crazy Nancy and Mnuchin, they can't agree. Jay Powell can just come out on TV and say, you know what? We just electronically deposited $3,000 into everybody's account. Poof. That's the power. Boy, doesn't that sound great? A lot of people are like, yeah, put that money in. I didn't deserve it, but you put it in there. What harm could possibly come of that? But more importantly, a truly stealthy one, there has barely been any media coverage of what may soon be a monetary transfer by the Fed, a direct stimulus to any and all Americans, bypassing the entire legislative branch in an attempt to spark the inflation. I told you. 2% ain't enough. 3% ain't enough. 4% ain't enough. 5% ain't enough. Oh, it's coming. Listen, they call it inflation. It's devaluation. You know what it is. Oh, it's coming big. 10% ain't enough. 20, That's why 2 weeks ago, Jeffrey Gundlach's Double Line, one of the biggest profile asset managers today, published a paper authored by fixed income portfolio manager Bill Campbell. So Bill Campbell is his right-hand man. Okay, you know, Warren Buffett, he's got Charlie Munger, right? Jeff Gundlach, he's got Bill Campbell. Exposing, and by the way, if you want to read it yourself, the Pandora's box of a central bank digital currencies. Pandora's box of central bank digital currencies, in which he wrote, such a mechanism could open the veritable floodgates of liquidity into the consumer economy and accelerate the rate of inflation. While central banks have been trying without success to increase inflation for the past decade, listen, they've done everything. Interest rates are at zero. The Fed's balance sheet is at $8 trillion and growing. They've done everything that they possibly could. They begged the government to go into even more debt. Still not enough. Still not enough. I'm going to tell you right now, they're going to make sure they're going to get enough. Doesn't matter. They put $3,000 in your account, $5,000 in your account, $10,000 in your account. Here's the problem. It'll buy, 10,000 will buy what 1,000 used to buy. It won't buy anything. This is what they need. Remember, I told you they've got, I don't even know, they may have 1 quadrillion of derivatives. They cannot have this debt be worth less. It'll be devastating. Of course, the curtain would be pulled back. They'd be exposed, and maybe we could get back to sound money. They're trying to hang on. And they'd rather devastate us than devastate them. So they're talking about the rapid increase, the floodgate of liquidity so they can get their inflation. They said, but not only, this is Double Line, would the inject liquidity into the economy, but it's going to dramatically accelerate the velocity of money. Remember the old M1, M2, M3? They stopped telling us what it was. This 1-2 punch that is going to bring about far more inflation than the central banks bargained for, and that's a bunch of crap. They know exactly what they want. They want far more inflation. Of course they do. That's the only thing I disagree with Bill Campbell about, that the Fed's going to be surprised by it. No, they're not. They can't tell you the truth. You might actually do something. It's a radio news hour. I know, it's Friday. Everybody get more Jack. We'll be right back. 800-951-0592. By the way, those Silver Eagles, no calling. It's going to be 2 weeks plus before I even get them. And this is it. The Bullion Bank made it official yesterday with me. They won't get any more. When he's sold out, he's out. U.S. Silver Eagles, $595 today, despite the move. Again, should be 600, 605. I'm going to ignore it. I want you to take advantage of it. U.S. $20 gold pieces below $2,100, $20.95 at 800-951-0592. I'll reiterate, no calling me about silver. Don't do it. Don't be that guy. And you know who you are out there. It's busy. We're busy. Brooke almost committed suicide by paper cut. She had so much work to catch up on. It's going to be 2+ weeks. All right, now that I've done that, there you go. There's my spiel to you. Getting back to double line. China has made it official. They have legalized the digital renminbi. Double line says, oh, don't be fooled. The central bank, they're trying to be stealthy. They're not that stealth. We're going there too. And you better be careful for what you wish for. Because, boy, it'll just be great if they're, oh, here's some money. They said they can't understand that this has not been enough to bring the topic of central bank digital currencies into the mainstream financial media. Well, again, it can't. I mean, could you imagine CNBC and Fox News having to talk about this? Because what would they have to admit? They would have to admit that the central bank is going to devalue all of us. But again, they want to spin it. Oh, well, no, it'll be, wait for the next emergency, and then we can say, oh, isn't this great? That's how they like to do it. Which is perhaps understandable, Bill Campbell said. Hey, I get it. Because, number one, everyone's attention is glued to the outcome and the implications of the election, which I told you, right? We talked about it. I've given you this. It doesn't matter. I keep saying it. It doesn't matter. Number two, most media members think this idea of the central bank digital currencies is some useless version of Bitcoin, when nothing could be farther from the truth. When they started looking into it in more detail, Double Line's resident digital currency expert Bill Campbell penned a follow-up note. So he's like, okay, I guess my first one didn't get your attention. From his original report, in which he explained in real simple terms about what's going to happen when all of this comes out. The world's central banks and the Bank of International Settlements. There it is. Told you. Envision a network of multiple cross-border payment system featuring direct bilateral exchange in the world's different currencies. See, that's a problem for us. It's a big problem for us. See, it's not a big problem for the Chinese. It's not a big problem, really, for the Europeans or the British or the Japanese. It's a big problem for us. You want to? Well, we know why. Because even today, most of the world's trade is still done in dollars, which means every country in the world, with the exception of a few, and we know who they are: Russia, Iran, Venezuela, right? South Korea, or not South Korea, North Korea. They hold dollars. And boy, we need them to hold those dollars. Because if they don't, right? If they don't, who's going to buy the debt? Who's going to buy it all? Because that's how you hold it. And Bill Campbell says, hey, get ready. Such a regime is going to discard the decades-long mediation through which the world's reserve currency, the U.S. dollar reign will come to an end. And he's right. And it's by design. See, because believe it or not, our central bank needs it to come to an end. They need it to be worth less and a lot less. Got to get that inflation, as they like to call it. Got to have that inflation. In short, central banks are preparing to launch cross-border payment system, what represents a new global order. See, this is the part I hated. You know who it is. Here, it's the ultimate play by the globalist. Yep. Forget about a dollar. No. We're making a move towards a one world currency. And Bill Campbell pretty much says this is a major threat to the dollar and its status as the world's reserve currency. It will come to an end. And this is the price we're going to pay. The price of what they say is inflation, devaluation. I don't care what you put on. Think about what it is that's about to happen. Think about it. China's making the play first. They're going to be first. Remember when we used to be first? But now, of course, the reason we can't be first has really been spelled out by Bill Campbell. We need inflation. The dollar's got to go down and way down. 800-951-0592. Patriot Radio News Hour. Final segment on a Friday. $800-951-0592. Final segment here. Gold and silver. Gold, silver, and bond yields. The only thing up today, the 10-year note at a whopping 0.87. The Dow is down 300 plus. The Nasdaq's down 300. Apple, it was disappointing. Apple, Twitter, Google was okay. They all came out with earnings last night, but Apple, a large part of that. Twitter was getting hit hard. Facebook also losing users. Well, that's what happens when you start banning everybody. But the Nasdaq now back below 11,000. The Dow trying to hold on to 26,000. Crude oil just been taken out to the woodshed all week long. Down another 2% this morning, below 35.50 a barrel. So you got to figure the cash price now is in the mid-20s, maybe. All the Exxon, Chevron, all the major oil companies, revenues down 30 and 40%, more layoffs coming there as well. But again, the next crisis, which could be as soon as Tuesday, the central bank is going to unleash its version of a digital dollar. And the reason is very simple, as I've tried to explain to all of you. We cannot have commercial real estate go down 10%. Can't even go down 10%. More or less 20 or 30%. Housing prices can't go down. They're all built upon debt. All of these companies, with the exception of a few. A very, very finite few. Think about the S&P 500. Do you know how many AAA companies are in the S&P 500? Like, a lot of us were probably thinking, I don't know, a couple hundred? Right? Maybe 150, 100, 50, 20, 10, 6. That's it. All the rest of them, by and large, are nothing more than zombies. And it can't go lower without taking everything down with it. They didn't fix too big to fail. That was just a sham. Of course, they kind of acknowledged it now, haven't they, with their little press releases. Of course, that wasn't in the media either. How about the new rules from the FDIC? I told you they didn't have any money. You just don't want to believe me. That's okay. I get it. That's too hard to understand. This is what's coming. The United States dollar is coming to an end. We'll go to a digital dollar. We will not be the reserve currency of the world. And I figure about a 50% haircut. That sounds about right to me. You know, the dollar's at, 93? Probably needs to be something in the low 50s, mid 40s. So the Fed can get their quote-unquote inflation. Have your fiscal house in order. U.S. $20 gold pieces, $20.95. U.S. Silver Eagles, $5.95 at 800-951-0592. God bless everybody. Listen, have a great week and be safe. We'll be back on Monday.